Hey everybody, Pastor JJ here, coming to you on a Monday morning. As some of you heard, over this past weekend, my family had to put one of our dogs down, which was the first time I've ever done anything like that, and it was really, really heartbreaking. She was in an incredible amount of pain towards the end. She was completely paralyzed. I had to actually carry her into the doctor's office, and so Friday morning is my day off, and I loaded her up in the car. I wrapped her in a towel, and I'm carrying her, and she's shivering, and she's in so much pain, and I set her down on the seat next to me, and we didn't want the kids to see her like that, so I just took her by myself, and on the drive there, I was like, okay, maybe, it's such a somber, it's a really sad moment, maybe I'll listen to some music. I'll put some Christian music on, and I turned on the radio, and it was a good song, but it was so peppy and upbeat, and God's love and everything is wonderful and awesome all the time. And I'm looking at my dog, who I am driving to the vet where she was going to be put down, and I couldn't handle it. Like, I heard this Christian music, this peppy, happy stuff, and I was like, this is not where I'm feeling, this is not where I'm at right now, this happy God's love stuff. And so I get to the vet, and I don't know if you guys have been to the vets recently. Around here, what we do is we check in on our phones, and we let them know that we're out in the car, and then when they're ready, we bring them inside. We have to wait out in the parking lot. So we're sitting in the parking lot, and I've checked in, and I'm waiting, and because of her procedure, what was happening, we get bumped up to the front of the line, but while I was sitting there was a story that occurred to me. It's a story from the Old Testament, from the book of Daniel. There's these guys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And it's a pretty famous story. You've probably heard it. It's the fiery furnace story. There was a king. He built a big statue of himself, and he said, everybody's got to bow down to this statue. And three guys who worshipped God, they were Jewish, and they worshipped God, and they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We can't bow down to another God or to another anything, right? We can only bow down to the God, the real God that's out there. And the king got all mad and said, I'm going to throw you into a fiery furnace. And there's this part, and these are the verses that I was reading while I was sitting there with my dog, because I was just in this kind of dark place. And there's this part where where those three men, they look at the king and they say, how do I explain even what they said? I believe it's Daniel 6, chapter 16, chapter 6, verses 16 through 18. And they say, go ahead. God is capable of saving us. You can throw us into the fiery furnace. God is capable of saving us. And most of us know that story, right? They throw, and he does. He throws them into a fiery furnace, and then they're fine. Right? The three men walk out of the fiery furnace, even though it was fiery and hot enough to burn up some of the guards who were standing nearby. Those three men were unharmed, and they came out, and the king realized his errors, and he called out to them, and he's like, oh my gosh, your king is your God is the real God. I'm so sorry. But what a lot of people don't know, and I think people forget this, is that verse 18 is in there, where they say, God, you could throw us in this fiery furnace, and God can save us. And then they say, but even if he doesn't save us, he is still God, and you are not worth worshiping. And I kind of had this realization. It was like, because the story ends happy, because they get saved, and they're like, look, God was always going to protect you. But the reality is sometimes that's not true. Sometimes God is not going to come in at the last second and save you. And even then, even on the bad days, when everything is raining and things are falling apart and it didn't work out the way you wanted it to work out, God is still there. God is still glorious. He still loves you. And I guess it's not the fairy tale message, but it's the real biblical message. And that was the kind of stuff that I needed to hear when I was there with my dog who was suffering. And if my boys had been praying for her to be healed for a long time. She wasn't healed. But God is still God. God is still good. God still loves us. And I guess we just have to be reminded that God's love does not hinge on us getting what we want. Right? Him loving us and being all powerful and good does not depend on us getting the prayer requests that we want. And I needed that reminder on Friday, and so Rack, Shack, and Benny from the book of Daniel reminded me that God is still God. Something that maybe superficial, shallow Christianity couldn't tell me from those worship songs. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of those worship songs, but when you dive deeper, there's actually a depth to the Bible and to all of this stuff. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that reflection with you. You guys have a good week. Bye.